We begin with Dennis Rodman's sudden disappearing act. As his team, the Los Angeles Lakers, hit the road this weekend, Rodman was nowhere to be seen, citing unspecified personal problems. Well, we've got inside answers as to just what that might mean. Rick Schwartz reveals how Rodman's troubles may be traced to gambling, his alleged stalker, and his little girl. It's today's Extra Angle.
Take him on, girl.
She's inherited her dad's basketball genius. And Extra has learned 10-year-old Alexis Rodman is at the center of Dennis Rodman's personal problems that forced him to abruptly leave the Los Angeles Lakers over the weekend.
He has not seen his daughter in almost 2 years.
Rodman's ex-wife, Anika, claims the 38-year-old rebound king is an absentee father who cares more about his wild lifestyle than raising his little girl.
You could fly in on your private jet. Fly her in to see you.
But Al Bowman says that's just not the case. He's the agent for Dennis's tattooed ex-girlfriend, Jenny J., who is one of the last people to see Dennis before he wormed out on the Lakers. Jenny says Rodman told her he's distraught because his ex just won't let him see Alexis.
Dennis really feels that the ex-wife is a vicious person who uses his daughter to hold over his head.
Aside from Alexis, there may be another woman causing Dennis problems, new bride Carmen Electra. The current National Enquirer reports Carmen spent 2 days in an Ohio hotel room with Pamela Anderson Lee's estranged husband, rocker Tommy Lee.
Carmen is just downright mean to him and very manipulative.
And on top of those potential marital problems, Bowman claims Rodman dropped out of sight because of this woman. She's Marie Bogosiewski, accused of sending the basketball star threatening emails and letters and harassing him with scary phone calls. They'll have to come face-to-face in court.
Why would that keep him from playing basketball? That's not enough.
Well, you know, it can be a little traumatic, I guess, when a guy has to deal with something of that nature.
But gambling may be the thing that's doing Dennis in.
He certainly frivolously gambles away a lot of money.
So with money problems, women problems, and obsessed fans, will Dennis Rodman, who craves publicity, come out of hiding and return to the Lakers? Well, Pat Rich, who brought Dennis up on an Oklahoma farm, says you will indeed see him back soon, and him going AWOL is just typical behavior.
I don't think it will take Dennis long to sort out his problems and come back to play basketball.
Rodman's teammates say they are being most sympathetic and understanding for now. And to Liz Taylor's painful confession, the movie legend says her own father beat her. It's a chapter of the story.
Kurt Cobain died of a gunshot wound to the head in April of 1994. Nearby, a cigar box full of drugs and drug paraphernalia. His death was ruled a suicide. But now another box, a cinematic box of worms, is being opened. It's a documentary called Kurt and Courtney.
Well, I don't think he killed himself. I think that somebody killed him.
He thinks, but he doesn't really know. This man is among a number of sources in this documentary who believes grunge rocker Kurt Cobain's death was not a suicide. Fingers are pointed at his widow, Courtney Love, but it all comes down to who you believe. The Seattle police say suicide, but this guy, an alleged hitman named El Duce, says Courtney Love made him an offer.
She offered me 50 grand to whack Kurt Cobain.
El Duce did pass a polygraph test, but as I say in the film, I don't think he was necessarily the most reliable of witnesses.
God dang, I wish I would have taken it, man. But I know who whacked him.
And in exchange for beer, he promised to tell. But several beers and a couple of days later, he was dead, hit by a train. Authorities say it was a suicide. Do you think you created a story where there really wasn't one?
Not at all, no. In fact, I went in probably to do a much more positive film than the film that you see today.
Kurt and Courtney had its premiere in Hollywood Wednesday night. This man is in the documentary. He was hired to track down Courtney Love during filmmaking.
If Courtney would have seen this movie before she started making all these protests, she would have never made the protests.
Al thinks Courtney's legal attempts to block the film's release were unnecessary, in part because he believes some of the sources for this documentary just aren't credible.
I think that their lives are consumed by drug use, primarily heroin, and they're all really just a walking dead.
Another source in the documentary is Love's own father, who has negative things to say about his daughter. The two do not have a good relationship. Courtney Love herself is not talking about the documentary, which opens on Friday. Other news now. Tim Robbins.
We all know that exercise is important, and that goes for our four-legged friends, too. But one dog owner says an unreasonable city rule has forced his once fit pup to grow into a chubby chihuahua. Phil Schumann explains.
Max is a criminal. Max is chubby. Max is a chihuahua. Max is a dog with a rap sheet. Owner Al Bowman says she's the target of puppy persecution, and he won't rest until her name is cleared.
I think the only danger you might face from this dog is being licked to death. She's so sweet. And, you know, it's a kind of a personal thing, too, with the city, I think, at this point.
The trouble started here at this park in Hermosa Beach, California. Al had let Maxine run around to chase a ball, her favorite exercise. But it's illegal to let a dog roam free in Hermosa Beach, and that's when Al said animal control struck, giving him a $48 ticket. Max's second offense.
They had based their Chihuahua sting operation up on that perch up there.
Al couldn't afford any more tickets, so onto a leash Max went. And Max, well, she didn't like it. And the lack of exercise has given Al cause for concern when he visits veterinarian Dr. Michael Bone's office.
Looks like 9.4 pounds.
Max now weighs twice her recommended weight because Al says being tethered to a leash means she can't exercise properly. Now, she might not look fat, but compare her to the svelte Taco Bell dog. Notice Max's doggy double chin. So, mad as hell and not going to take it anymore, Al decided to start his own canine crusade.
You know, I just think it's absurd.
He took his case to Hermosa Beach's city council and then fought that ticket in court, claiming Max should have a right to run free. It was a colorful case. The 9-pound dog a potential threat to public safety?
But the pooch's owner says that he's being unfairly targeted.
Local newscasts picked up the story, but the judge was unmoved and ordered Al to pay that $48 fine. But we here at Extra still wanted answers, so we took Max to the Hermosa Beach Police Department, where we were met by the Chief of Police, Val Strasser.
Does this look like a ferocious animal to you? You know, it's a little tiny dog. You're saying it's a zero tolerance policy, in other words. So happens that his dog's little, it doesn't matter if it's off the leash, it's off the leash?
It's off the leash, right. That's what code reads.
So, in the meantime, Al's found a creative solution to Max's problem. He signed Max up at Gold's Gym of Redondo Beach, where he now has an exercise program to work off those unwanted pounds.
Get that pulse rate up. There you go, Max.
So, is this the end for Al and Max? Not quite. Al says he's going to keep fighting until Max has the right Al feels should be guaranteed to every dog in America to run free.
I would take this all the way to the Supreme Court to fight for my dog's rights.
She may be chubby, but she is very cute. Al says his main goal is to see one area in Hermosa Beach designated for dogs to run without a leash. Next, how to plan a fairy tale wedding on a shoestring budget.
Is Tawny Katane, a beautiful, sexy actress who made her name as the sizzling star of music videos. Also listed on this former elite model's racy resume are credits from TV shows like America's Funniest People and B-movies like Bachelor Party. But these days, Tawny Katane is most famous for her off-screen relationship with O.J. Simpson. Mitchell Fink is a columnist for People magazine.
It was an extramarital affair that that began in the, as far as I know, in the mid-'80s. And O.J. regularly showered Tawny Katane with gifts.
Before O.J. Simpson, however, Tawny's romantic lead was Robin Crosby, the lead guitarist for the rock group Rat. Robin and Tawny started dating while they were in high school in San Diego. After graduation, they moved together to L.A. with dreams of hitting the big time.
We were like first lovers. It was peaches and cream for a long time. You know, she's a lovely girl, obviously.
Robin says his relationship with Tawny had its ups and downs because of his having to be on the road and her career demands. But things really came apart, he says, when Tawny began her affair with O.J. Simpson.
He wasn't happy about her seeing other people at all, regardless of who it was.
Robin says O.J. was particularly angry that Tawny continued to see him.
I heard that he had told her that he didn't want her seeing that damn rock and roller anymore.
Dawn Bryan says she was a roommate of Tawny's and claims that on more than one occasion she saw an enraged O.J.
I was in my room and I heard something going on downstairs because it was kind of a two-level apartment. And I opened up the door and I heard O.J. barging in through the door going, "Tawny, I know he's here. Where is he? I want to talk to him. I want to see him. Where is he right now?"
Robin and Tawny's limo driver, Al Bowman, says he heard O.J. lay down the law to Tawny.
She was his mistress, and I think that he was just keeping her in line, saying, "Look, babe, you know, if you want these free trips around the country and these fine hotels that you're rendezvousing with me in, if you want O.J., you can't have your rock and roll boyfriends. You can't have that."
Robin says his relationship with Tawny lasted 7 years, but says it ended abruptly one night during a romantic rendezvous at a Los Angeles hotel where they checked in under the name of Mr. and Mrs. Jones.
I received a quite frantic phone call from one of my road crew who informed me that there was a irate O.J. Simpson in the hotel looking for the Mr. and Mrs. Jones party.
Were you afraid that O.J. was really going to physically attack you or worse?
You know, I didn't want the guy to break my neck or anything. You know, I'm not a little guy, but I think, you know, he's used to running over guys bigger than me. So, you know, it was like, I just think the best thing for me to do to avoid confrontation is hop in the limo and head for the airport.
Robin says after that incident, he didn't talk to Tawny again for several years.
You know, I don't want to get in the middle of anybody's muck and have, you know, threats or confrontations. You know, it's not my style.
Will Tawny Katane tell of the dark side of O.J. Simpson? Once again in the spotlight, this sex kitten may be called as a witness in her former lover's trial.
But I don't care about what happened 14 years ago. All I want to focus on is the future.
One can't help but admire Dave's incredible courage after what he's been through. He's chosen to live his life to its fullest, and he's finally found happiness.
He starts each day, you know, like a brand new day, and he's so positive and he's so energetic.
It was a story that stunned and angered the nation. In 1983, Dave's father, Charles Rothenberg, doused him with kerosene and then set him on fire. The 6-year-old little boy was burned over 90% of his body.
I know I have done a terrible, terrible thing to you, and I beg your forgiveness.
Charles Rothenberg was prosecuted for the unthinkable act and sentenced to 13 years behind bars, although he was paroled after serving less than half that time. Are you bitter? Are you still angry at him?
Yes. Why wouldn't I be? But although, you know, I don't dwell on it.
Last year, Dave, who has legally dropped his last name and goes only by his first, decided it was time to face the man who nearly destroyed his life 14 years ago. It was an experience Dave describes as liberating.
I had to do that in order to step over the boundary that was hindering me from being successful.
Go back to your mark. Since then, Dave has found success. Professionally, he's directed several music videos, including this one with singer Kelly Lydell. And personally, he's found Stacy.
I think a spark has started, but it's not lit yet.
Dave and girlfriend Stacy Hawkins, an aspiring fashion designer, have been dating for a month and a half. Both say a special bond has formed between them.
She introduced herself to me because I'm a very shy person.
I saw him at the Martini Lounge and I was immediately drawn to him. He looked great, he had really cool clothes on, and I wanted to know who the designer was. We like the same music, we go to the same clubs, So we just started hanging out.
Stacy, when you look at Dave, what do you see?
Basically just a wonderful person. He's completely interesting. He's very artistic.
There is definitely a creative side to Dave. In the last year, he began painting, a passion that has touched his soul.
All my painting has to do with feelings that I have, or I have had in life. That one is about society's obsession with beauty. And in my opinion, beauty is nothing but a facade. And that painting is called La Facade.
Just 20 years old, Dave has already been recognized by the LA Music Awards for his work directing music videos, a career he hopes will help him achieve his lifelong dream, to be a filmmaker.
Cut!
And as Dave gets one step closer to that goal, it's one step further from a past he can leave behind.
I don't think what I went through is a tragedy. I think it is more of a triumph because I'm here today. I didn't die. I'm alive. I love living. And that's all that matters.